Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 10 and compare it against the iPhone XS Max and see which specific phone is worth buying in 2023. Now, I would probably go for the XS Max, as some of you may know, but there's still some advantages for the iPhone 10 for sure. Now, if you want to pick up some phones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off side by side, both these phones are very, very different. The iPhone 10, which came out in 2017, on the front has a 5.8-inch Retina OLED display, and it was a pretty good panel when it first came out, but it's aged a lot better than a lot of people think. 2017 had a lot of great phones, the Galaxy S8, the Galaxy Note 8, those phones probably had better panels, but this thing still looks very good on the front. It pretty much does look like a smaller iPhone XS Max, which is pretty funny, but this phone still looks great. I have a lot of love for this phone. First one to bring the notch, a little bit of bezel around it, but it still feels and looks like a very, very amazing phone. With the iPhone XS Max, on the other hand, this phone came out in 2018, and it was the first Max iPhone. It wasn't the first big iPhone, it was the first Max one that brought, and I think this one was a really, really good looking phone too. On the front, you had a 6.5-inch Retina OLED display or Super Retina OLED display. Very good panel on here too. There's no exception here. Apple does a great job with their panels when they team up with Samsung, and this was a really, really good looking display. It's big, it's much bigger than the iPhone 10, so keep that in mind. If you have to carry a phone like this every day, it is going to be a pretty big phone. You have the notch up top, but I think overall both these phones look pretty good. I still love the iPhone 10 though, for sure. Now, on the sides, you can kind of see not a lot of craziness going on. They both look pretty much identical. The iPhone 10, again, is smaller, but different colors, are going to be different things for the most part. Lightning ports at the bottom, which look great. And on the back, you are basically getting dual camera setups. So you're getting a dual camera setup on the back of the iPhone 10 and on the iPhone XS Max, which look amazing. You're getting full-on glass backs, which look really, really good. Of course, I have a skin on the back of my iPhone XS Max, but this is a really good looking phone on both of them. They both look almost identically the same. Again, you are getting the Apple logos at the top if this one didn't have a skin. You're getting wireless charging on both, IP certification on both as well. There are things that both these phones are missing that phones nowadays do have. Things like frosted glass backs, things like multiple camera setups besides just the telephoto lenses. The MagSafe capability is missing on both, no ProMotion on the front. So there's still a lot of things that both these phones basically do not have. But I will say for the most part, Apple did a great job for both these phones during the time that they came out, and I have a lot of respect for Apple because of that. Now, from the software standpoint, both these phones are at different stages. So they're both on iOS 16, they're both going to be supported, but the iPhone XS Max has a higher likelihood of being supported for a longer period of time. So with the iPhone 10, this one came out in 2017, we are approaching like the 6th year that this phone's going to be out. I think and I hope that it does end up getting iOS 17, and I'm pretty sure it will. I mean, I'd be surprised if it doesn't. But if we kind of think about it like that, and this phone should theoretically be supported probably until iOS 17 to 2024. The iPhone XS Max is probably going to be supported easily until 2024. I don't think Apple's going to drop support of it this year. So we are at a very interesting crossroads. Apple is probably going to end up supporting this phone, but there's a chance this one may not be supported, so there's always that thing to keep in mind. So maybe the XS Max is the only one that's even worth buying then at that point, but it's kind of up to you. It's also a bigger phone, so there's also that, but I think ultimately it's just one of those things to kind of keep in mind. So let's go and do a speed comparison now between these phones. The iPhone XS Max has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the iPhone 10 has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. And there we go. Let's go and hop all the apps in the background, and they are all cleared out. 10 is here, XS Max is here. So phone calls, 3, 2, 1. I think the XS Max was faster. Let's go and do their settings, 3, 2, 1. Totally messed that one up on here, so let's go and hop out of this one. Let's do their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Very similar. I thought one was going to be faster, but that didn't really end up being the case. You can kind of see that when I'm scrolling through. The iPhone 10 actually kind of looked a little bit faster there. The XS Max a little bit slower. Not anything super crazy. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's do camera, 3, 2, 1. Let's go and take a photo, 3, 2, 1. Let's go and open up that photo. Okay, I can't really tell. Let's go and open up the Photos app, 3, 2, 1. Okay, very similar type of performance I'm getting between one both, but that's what we'd expect. They're only 1 year within each other. So it's not like we're like, these ones are super far away. They're very, very similar. Let's go and try Genshin Impact actually if we have it on here. And it doesn't look like I do. So let's try something like Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now this game isn't that big, but it's still a very, very interesting game to test out. It's, still a very relevant game. I'm hoping there's no pop-ups, and I'm ready to click out of them if in case there are. But we look pretty good. The iPhone XS Max did look, a little bit faster there. The iPhone 10 still very fast, still very good, but you can kind of see that the iPhone XS Max was pretty much the faster one when it came down to it. Hopping out of this specific application, let's go and try like Netflix or Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And you can see here the iPhone XS Max was the faster one. There's always some funny stuff going on whenever I get into the game because there's always some glitches. But it's pretty much even on the most powerful phone I see some glitches going on. Let's try Twitter. 3, 2, 1. Now I think I might be logged into an account here, and I am. So we'll just kind of have to like let this one kind of go. So this one doesn't really count. Temple Run 1, 3, 2, 1. And I've noticed, it does take quite a bit of time to even get into some panels. You can see here, even the iPhone XS Max was the faster one. So ultimately what I'll tell you is here, I think both phones are, fast for how old they are, but I'll definitely tell you the XS Max is probably the faster one. In this case, I think the iPhone XS Max would be the two if I did it right. I think the iPhone XS Max is clearly probably the faster, better performing one. It has more RAM too. But I think the iPhone 10, for how old the phone is, still holds up decently well too. So from that perspective, that kind of covers it up there. Now in the camera department, as I mentioned before, we are kind of getting a little bit of a similar type of experience between both. So for one, we're getting dual camera setups. The iPhone 10 has that wide and telephoto lens, while the iPhone XS Max also has a wide and telephoto lens. So we can do 4K at 60 on the back, 1080p on the front, but the XS Max can do 1080p at 60 on the front, where the iPhone 10 can only do 1080p at 30. So you're definitely getting an overall better camera setup on the iPhone XS Max overall, but the iPhone 10 is still a very, good. It's a similar camera. It's not a great camera. It's not even a good camera. It's a similar type of camera experience that you're getting. So with this thing, you're still getting photo mode, video mode, portrait mode. It's a lot of modes for the most part. It's a good camera for. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but it's a good camera for how old this phone is. But it's not a good camera, if that makes any sense anymore. I think it had a lot of capability when it first came out, but it's quite clear the iPhone XS or the iPhone 10 isn't that great. The iPhone XS Max is better, for its age and for everything. It's definitely a better camera. So you're getting, like I said, a bigger viewfinder, a bigger screen, which is always nice. You're getting photo mode, you're getting video mode, you're getting portrait mode as well, which is really nice. But beyond that, you're really not getting a whole lot of other things, and that's kind of the issue that we're kind of getting here. With the XS Max and with the iPhone 10, these phones are probably more similar than not, which is totally okay. When you're getting a phone like the iPhone XS Max, I'm not expecting this phone to be the greatest, latest phone that ever came out. It's supposed to be a good quality phone that's still, fairly good for the most part, that has a lot of power. Though with a phone like the iPhone 10, this has always been a really good phone, and I've always liked it. It is significantly cheaper than the iPhone XS Max right now, so it's always a really cool thing too. But it really just comes down to you. Do you like a bigger phone? Well, then maybe the XS Max makes way more sense. The iPhone 10, I don't even really think it's like a phone worth buying that much anymore because, it's worth buying, it's worth using if you currently have it. But if it doesn't get iOS 17, then this phone's going to be in a very, very awkward spot. So keep that in mind. I would probably say go for the XS Max as of right now. But the iPhone 10, if you currently have it, still has a lot of power in it as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.